와, 이게 봐 씨발 깜짝 놀란 게 진짜 나만 이렇게 생각하는 게 아니었다니까. 나는 저번 시간 말했잖아요. 아, 사고가 생각이 너무 많다. 씨발, 너무 어려운데? 아니, 그렇게 빨리 질문을 하면 어떻게 대답을 해야 씨발. 아, 대답을 위한 대답인 거지? 질문을 위한 질문인 거고, 질문을 위한 대답인 거지 참. 대답을 위한 질문, 대답을 위한 질문. 쏘리, 잘못 말했어요. 대답을 위한 질문인 거야. 대답을 피한다고? 피했네. 이거 링킨 파크 스타일을 했잖아요. 내가 할게. 이거는 초반은 좀 아니다. 하트. 온라인 플레이 진짜 시작하겠지. 이거지. 잘 열심히 했지만 이건 아니야. 이거는 좀 아닌 것 같아. 뭐라 하지? 난 실제로 이 하는 사람을 보고 싶은데 뭐라고 하지? 반응.
It was only like 2 weeks before I was introduced to heroin and crack cocaine. I started using recreationally, and obviously like you can't do that with heroin before you become addicted to it.
Demi Lovato opens up about the first time she ever used heroin.
My cocktail before I got sober was Coke and Xanax together. It was an upper and a downer, and I loved the combination. Once I relapsed, the floodgates were open. Within a couple weeks, I called a drug dealer and I was like, do you have Coke and Xanax? And he said, no, but I have crack and heroin. And I was like, I've always wanted to try it.
Episode 1 and 2 of the I Love Me Singers 4-part docuseries Dancing with the Devil dropped Tuesday on YouTube, and the 28-year-old's getting candid about her 2018 relapse and subsequent overdose.
Demi Lovato is no holds barred in this. Was there anything off limits for you guys?
She was even surprised at just how much she ended up wanting to share, which is all about the safe space and the ability, to ultimately get her story out there.
Cameras followed Demi as she celebrated 6 years of sobriety.
This is a special day. 6 years sober. Happy birthday.
1 month after that, Demi relapsed with drugs and alcohol, and within 3 months, she was fighting for her life.
I picked up a bottle of red wine that night, and it wasn't even 30 minutes before I called someone that I knew had drugs on them. I ended up at a party. I just so happened to run into my old drug dealer from 6 years before, and I just went to town. That night I did drugs that I'd never done before. I'd never done meth before. I tried meth. I mixed it with Molly, with Coke, weed, alcohol, Oxycontin, and like that alone should have killed me.
Demi says 2 weeks after that, she tried heroin and crack cocaine for the first time. And during a trip to Bali a few weeks later, the former Disney star said she realized she had become physically dependent on it. It was on that trip that she wrote her emotional track, Sober.
I'm so sorry, I'm not sober anymore. Daddy, please forgive me for the drinks spilled on the floor.
I went away, went on tour to Europe. I stayed clean, kind of, like wasn't doing drugs, but was drinking a lot.
ET spoke to the documentary's director, Michael D. Ratner, and he opened up about why it was so important to Demi to lay it all out on the table.
I think she feels liberated. I think she feels like she doesn't have to walk around with a facade or wondering, are people going to pick up on this? Or, you know, I've said I'm the poster child for that, but people evolve, people grow. And, you know, there's going to be no aha gotcha moment after this. She says, I am a work in progress. I've put systems in place because I am a flawed person. Here's where I am today, and I'm here to tell you my journey.
When I came back to LA after tour, I picked up where I left off, and I was very heavily using.
Demi overdosed and was rushed to the hospital on July 24th, 2018.
Metro Rescue 827, persons leaving, does not want LAFD assistance and or help.
I am not saying that I have not used needles, but that night I wasn't injecting it, I was smoking it, which is another reason why I was so shocked when I woke up in the hospital, because I was like, no, I'm not injecting it, I can't overdose on it. At the end of the day, if you do too much of anything, it's gonna kill you.
Her objective was to clear the air, to tell her story, to speak her truth. You could jump on live and say whatever you're feeling that day, but that's impulsive and in the moment. Whereas this is, you know, you're gonna get to know Demi Lovato.
My brother, the producer of this film, did not like the idea.
Heroin? Are you out of your fucking mind? No. You're not.
Why not? Why wouldn't I do heroin?
Because it's the most fucking addictive drug. Are you retarded?
I just did crack. I'm not worried about getting addicted to crack. I'm not coming back to Hastings a week from now looking for heroin. Like, I'm not doing that. That's ridiculous. I'm not gonna run back here by myself without you and just go shoot up. Like, we're doing heroin.
You don't have to do this. You shouldn't do it.
Yeah. Well, no, that's not true.
No, it is true. This is retarded, Mish. You're doing heroin. No. Don't. Are you fucking stupid? No. Okay. Well, we're doing it. Let's go.
Enter Insight. This is the first and only safe injection site in North America. Inside these doors, users are no longer punishable by drug laws. They inject their drugs with the help of government-funded medical staff. This place serves over 600 addicts a day. Cameras are prohibited here, so we went undercover. Okay, no turning back now. I was on my way.
The supervised injection site may be the first time that the drug addict comes into contact with healthcare workers who are not judging him and are hostile to him and are trying to change him. That non-judgmental contact gives people an opportunity to consider addiction in a new light. And so harm reduction is not only about specific techniques, it's also about meeting people where they are.
Speaking, but I do feel like I'm floating on a cloud. But I'm cogent, not...
How you feeling, man?
To be honest, out of it. But I'm cogent, not having difficulty speaking. But I do feel like I'm floating on a cloud. It's actually pretty awesome.
Yeah?
Yeah. But it's not as intense as I would have thought. Like, I'm still Misha Kleider, and I'm not. I figured it would make you insane or something. Okay, come roll. I want to take you on a magical journey because I know a lot of you are never going to have this experience. I don't expect a lot of my viewing audience to do heroin, if I can express this at all well.
boy.
It's like cruising on a cloud. My legs hurt. Typically, my legs don't hurt right now. I have a lower back problem that has cleared right up as soon as Like before the needle left my arm, I could feel the pain in my lower back disappear, like completely. Yeah. It's beautiful. It's a beautiful experience, actually. I feel dizzy. Like I need to puke or something.
Mish, come on. Let's go for a walk. Dude, seriously? I don't know why you did that.
It's made me dizzy looking at you.
I feel like there's like little baby ants and popping with their fucking eggs underneath my fucking beard or something. Okay, I don't know if I got bullshit stuff or what out, but honestly, I'm not feeling any like real cool sensation right now. Like past like the first 10 minutes, that was nice, but now I'm just feeling like my skin's all fucking itchy. I feel like there's little like ant baby fucking hatchlings under my fucking skin, especially on my arm right here where that fucking needle went in.
Honestly, you can do whatever the fuck you want, but I'm going home because I'm done with this shit. Keep playing it, whatever. You can follow me home, but I'm going home. I'm not living out on the street any longer. What?
Seriously. Let's do this. 5 more days. You can do it. Let's go back to this side.
First of all, you can't tell me I have to do it. You can't fucking tell me that because you're not the one doing this. I'm the one who's doing this, right? I'm the one who has to do all this fucking bullshit, and it's actually annoying. You keep on saying, you know, all this crap to me. I'm fucked in the head right now. I can't even talk straight, but I'm going home. I'm done.
Hey. Come on.
What?
5 more days.
We're not doing this, Al.
이 새끼
What's 5 more days?
정신병자인데 얘? 뭐냐?
My breath.
Run-ins with most substances, you know, because just like, you know, I had a, you know, Coke and Crystal, and there was a you know, a ton of alcohol and you know, weed smoking and ecstasy and nitrous balloons and just, you know, like
I saw everything.
I just well and I just, it's not like it's not something I set out to do or anything. I grew up in a place where everybody where I'm from, I grew up in a town called La Crescenta in California, and when people ask me, it's like imagine Jeff Spicoli, but like 4 years after the movie ended, and he like works at a Blockbuster, you know, and he's just everything is kind of falling apart around him, and he's not amounting to much. There's just a lot of that, like, dude, what's up, bro? Like, you want to crowd down to the hut and get some stickities before we chang, dude? You know, like that's how people talk. Like, you wouldn't even.
How old were you when you started drinking or whatever?
You know, like 7th grade, 6th grade.
Holy
12,
shit.
You know, and like smoking pot. My brother sold weed when he was 10.
No.
Yeah. So it started. It's just like everything was just like skateboards and Metallica shirts and all that kind of shit. And so it was just like I didn't think about it. It wasn't something I set out to do. It just kind of happened. And but I also played sports, and I ended up getting a scholarship to play football in college, and that kind of kept me.
Okay.
Like it kept me out of trouble, you know. Like I would be like, oh, I gotta focus, you know, I gotta go to school, and you know, I would be able to kind of wrangle in my bullshit, and then once that was over, and I was like, kind of like, now what do I do? And then for the next few years, it got like kind of nasty and ugly. And then
can I ask you some naive questions? Because
Sure.
I literally have never even done cocaine.
Right.
First of all, my personality on cocaine would be if I drink a coffee, I
Sure,
would
sure.
like attack. I'd be unwell.
Yeah.
But I want to know, like, what does heroin feel like compared to weed, compared to cocaine, meth? I'm so curious. I mean, clearly it must feel pretty dope.
No, everyone has these like, you know, kind of like, it's better than sex, dude, you know, kind of.
Yeah,
that's what you hear, you know, and it's not better than sex. It's not, you know, Mikey Stefano had that great joke about getting a blowjob and getting your face licked by puppies. That's what it felt like, it you know, and it is great, but I think it's more kind of the pleasure that you get from it is more, it's kind of relative to how terrible your life is without it. So once you're strung out and you're feeling completely like how terrible your life is without it is more, it's kind of relative to how terrible your life is without it. So once you're strung out and you're feeling completely like the worst. Okay, so imagine that you had a level 10 flu with shingles and fucking you had you know, the chicken pox and the flu and malaria, and then instantly you were like, oh, I feel great, like literally within 1 second.
Right.
So that is in and of itself like quite an experience to just instantly be completely healed from this complete nastiness, you know. So it feels good, but then it's more of a it's not like with cocaine, you know, you party, you do a bunch of blow, and it's like, you know, let's go to Vegas, you know, and with opiates, it's just kind of more of like a day in, day out. I wake up, I have to do this. It's just less fun. I mean, it's like more of a way of life rather than like a party.
신기하네. 도파민 분출이 있다는데 왜 저렇게 되지?
I woke up once and my world was never ever the same, and that's when I realised that I was physically and mentally addicted to it.
Let's go through the first time you took heroin.
Oof. Yeah, it was in 1997, and yeah, I met up with someone I knew. I'm not going to say friend, you know, like an associate. A substance that I guess straight away was heroin was put on the foil, and I was shown how to smoke that. It numbed me to the point of I felt totally content. I reckon it's sort of going back to being in the mother's womb, I should think, when nothing bothers you, nothing phases you, nothing worries you, everything is just easy, blissful. You're almost invincible. You start chasing that buzz again, you want that feeling. And I would say that I didn't run out of heroin at all for the first 4 months. And then after about between 4 and 5 months, I woke up once and my world was never ever the same. And that's when I realised that for the first 4 months. And then after about between 4 and 5 months, I woke up once and my world was never ever the same. And that's when I realised that I was physically and mentally addicted to it. From the moment you awake to the moment you go to sleep, you are thinking about scoring the next bit of heroin. You're then also thinking, where is the money coming from after that? I've nicked washing machines that have been outside when you've seen the people get them off the lorries on the little trolleys. I've walked off with one of those before. I've gone in and just grabbed armfuls of designer clothes, designer handbags, anything basically, you know, because I knew different people, fences they're called, they would buy anything that I got, anything at all. I served 9 prison sentences, either for driving while disqualified or for shoplifting. I went through some nasty rattles in there when you're sort of detoxing, because back then they didn't give you anything to help you sort of come off. The most they were sort of detoxing, because back then they didn't give you anything to help you sort of come off. The most they give you was an aspirin, and that's not going to do anything. If you can imagine your intestines and your bones feeling like they are on fire 1 minute and then being frozen the next. You've got horrible sweats, you're being sick, you get diarrhea, you cannot keep still, you've got the twitches, your mind is just trying to switch off, you can't sleep. It's just the worst feeling, the worst experience I've ever gone through. That's when you start thinking, I am not in control of this. And then because I wasn't properly clean when I came out, within an hour, I was taking heroin again. I now weigh anything between 14 to 14 and a half stone. Going back then, my lowest was just under 8 stone, because you don't eat food, you're not staying hydrated. I don't know really how the body functions just running on that. About 2006, I decided that being a heroin addict was always going to be my life. You just go along with it. Rather than beating yourself up because you want to get clean and you can't, you sort of throw your hands up, oh well, this is my life, you know, I'll do this and I'll just carry on. In 2008, I was involved in a robbery. I was robbed, and I thought I'd been punched 3 times in the back, and I'd been stabbed. I remember laying down in the dirt, and I could taste ash and dirt on my tongue. And out of all the years that had gone past before when I didn't care, because I mean I've overdosed many times, at that moment something was just in me that this life was so very precious and there was more to life. I was hospitalised for that. It was a hard time, but from that point I never ever have touched any illicit drugs since then. All I can liken it to is if you get a computer and you reset it to factory settings, so you wipe off everything that there is in there and you've got a blank space to work with. That's what it was like for me. You know, I didn't know what tastes I like, I didn't know what smells I liked, I didn't know what I liked, I didn't know what genre of music, I didn't know anything. You are literally reset to factory settings, and that was an incredibly tough time as well. And even now, almost 12 years on, you know, I might get a smell of something or I'll hear a piece of music and it's like it rekindles a memory that had almost been erased. When we haven't got security in our life and we're missing something, anybody could become an addict. In September of this year, I will be 12 years clean from heroin, which is massive because my addiction was 11 years long, so I'd have been clean longer now than what I had the addiction. An addiction is a negative. If you say addiction, it's always seen as a negative. Whereas on the flip side of that, you can have a passion, which is the same drive, but if you say a passion, it becomes a positive. Since turning my life around, I've become a multiply published author. I'm a qualified nutritionist. I'm a passionate advocate for animal rights and veganism, and I also joint own an animal sanctuary. I've been one of the lucky ones. I've been through all of that, abused my body to such an extent. I was still here, and I've got no regrets about what I've done, who I am, what I do now, because to have regrets, we cannot change it. So you have to embrace the good and the bad in your life and just cherish this life.